The NFL league season officially opens today, and we're going to do a quick review of the Saints and free agency so far, complete with cheat sheets. I'm Tim. Let's talk Saints. With contract restructures finally done by the Saints, they get to join the free agency market along with the other 31 NFL teams. And right away, I think they hit with a winner in Willie Gay, linebacker from Kansas City, formerly of Kansas City, and Super Bowl winner. He's always been a solid to pretty good NFL linebacker and very fast and athletic. Only 4 years in the league so far. So in a defense that in some spots that is aging a little bit, you kind of getting some youth and some athleticism back in it. He definitely has the ability to play multiple roles in the linebacking core. In Kansas City, he was a good, especially sideline to sideline, pretty good run defender, could help in the pass rush, could help in coverage, did make a few big plays every now and again for him, which is always a plus on the Saints defense because sacks, turnovers sometimes have kind of been an issue in recent years. And I don't necessarily know he was brought in specifically for a backup role. And the only reason why I say this is Pete Werner came out with a bang his rookie season at linebacker. We were all very excited what he could potentially become. And not that he's a terrible linebacker, but the progress I think we all wanted to see over, especially last season, may not quite be what we were expecting or hoping for. So I think a guy like Willie Gay comes in, maybe pushes Pete. That may help. Maybe just get him back on track a little bit, or potentially Gay could take the spot. And I don't know what the Saints' future plans are at middle linebacker. Obviously, DeMario's still going to be around, and he's still playing at such a high level that is, if there's a drop-off due to age, nobody seems to really notice. Overall, Willie Gay is a win, especially, and according to Ross Jackson on the Locked On Saints podcast, the contract is up to $5 million, which kind of implies it's a lower salary, lower cash, with incentives or bonuses. And depending on what those are, that could really be a plus because, if he has a bonus for 100 tackle season with 7 sacks and 2 interceptions, pay the man the money, right? So I think overall, very, very big win for the Saints right here, helping at a position of need, not being very expensive, and getting a pretty good football player coming off a Super Bowl win. Not really a whole lot that you don't like in that whole situation. The other thing I want to talk about in free agency is Chase Young is coming in for a visit for the Saints. And I did mention him in previous video when we were talking about trying to bargain shop in free agency. And just to make it 100% clear, there is no bargain associated with Chase Young. He's going to cost. He had fantastic seasons in 2020 and 2023. And in that video, I made a slight reference to a Marcus Davenport vibe. And I want to be 100% clear on what I was referring to there. These 2 years, 21 and 22, he got plagued with the injury bug. In fact, 2022, he had a season ender. And it's not that he's quite the Marcus Davenport ability to rush the passer, but inability to stay on the field. So that comment that I made in the previous video was that's more of a Tim issue than it is a Chase Young issue. Overall, if he if we can find the money, and we're the Saints, we seem to print money when it comes to stuff like this. And he's willing to come here. He solves a lot of issues as long as he's healthy and on the field. And he for 2 years, uh, like I said, his rookie year and last year, not really an issue. It's just the 2 years in between. So that would be a win if the Saints can work it out where he shows up in New Orleans. Um, because of my Davenport issues, and maybe therapy for me is actually more of a answer than not bringing in Chase Young if we have the chance and he's willing to come here and help out on the pass rush. At the time of this recording, Saints have 3 losses in free agency. Zach Baun to the Eagles, Malcolm Roach to the Rocky Mountain Saints of Denver, Colorado, and Jameis Winston to Cleveland. The first two, Baun and Roach, both rotational pieces on the defensive line, Baun on the edge, Roach in the interior. Um, Honestly, best wishes to Zach Baun, but I don't think we're losing a whole lot right there, especially if Chase Young shows up, and when you consider you have a second rounder in Foskey, which hopefully shows up this year, and Cam, we're hoping Cam last year was the injury and not necessarily an indication of downplay. So perfect world, we're replacing Zach Baun with Chase Young, and Foskey and Cam are going to be more of those situational, rotational edge guys. Roach, I think, is a little more painful loss. Once again, second year in a row, we kind of all of a sudden are starting to look thin on the interior. Like I mentioned in the previous video, Brazil, I love as a rusher, but needs some work in run defense. And then you have Shepard and Saunders there. So I don't know if you really consider it a huge need in further free agency to replace Roach, or if you can do it through the draft, or if there's some of the younger guys that they do have on the roster are ready to step up. But that's one to keep an eye on. And then Jameis to Cleveland. Uh, Everybody knew he wasn't going to be back this year, so no real surprise there. Um, he's Saints fans kind of a bit of a lightning rod. Um, some people just loved him, some people not so much. I really don't have an opinion on any of that, one way or the other for here. I only mention it as a loss for the fact that obviously right now Hayner is the only backup quarterback on the roster, and he he didn't even take an NFL snap last year, so that's kind of a hole. And it also leads me to make a direct plea to Mickey Loomis and the front office. Um, Please do not go overboard desperate to throw a lot of money at a veteran quarterback to back up Derek Carr, who A is either not going to be very good if he has to play, or B, you're just going to lose faith in him, sort of like you did with Winston last year. So, even if the defensive line runs over Derek Carr with a truck, you're still going to try to strap him up and throw him back out there. And as a sidebar, instead of spending money on that quarterback to back up Derek Carr that you may not even play, based on what we saw last year, a reinvestment in an offensive lineman to maybe not let Carr take so many hits, and just a suggestion. But I really, I was watching a little bit of T-Bob and Hesser this morning, and they brought up, hey, Joe Flacco's out there. And I'm thinking, no, Let's not go that route. Now, if we were the 2023 Chiefs or the '85 Bears or anything clearly like that, where you're looking at the team right now and going, we have a legitimate Super Bowl run in us. Go and find that veteran. We'll pay what we pay, um, or we'll pay what we need to pay to bring him in a backup car. Yeah, I get it. I don't think this team right now is reminding anybody of the '85 Bears. I don't think this all-in philosophy we've been on the last few seasons, it's kind of led to some issues in salary cap and on the roster itself, applies in any way, shape, or form to backup quarterback. And Mickey, I would also say, take a look at the offensive coordinator you just hired, because he's coming from an organization and was a big part of taking Mr. Irrelevant, the last guy drafted, and forced to start him at quarterback. All he did was make 2 NFC championship games, 1 Super Bowl. So please, no more. And I'm going to use him as an example, but I don't mean him specifically. But when Jameis Winston was brought in, he was basically a backup for Drew. They had high expectations to replace him. I get all that part of it, but he stuck around a long time with a rather large contract that for the most part bit us in the backside. And now, to all credit to Jameis, um, Sean's last year, he started out looking like, hey, we might really have something here. Then the horse collar tackle that blew his knee out derailed the whole season basically for the Saints. And he was never really a part of the answer since then. I don't want to whether it's Joe Flacco or any other name you can bring up, no way, shape, or form I want to relive that again. I would rather put the trust in a new coaching staff, roll with Hayner, even if we have to draft another rookie. Brock Purdy was probably a once-in-a-lifetime situation, but bringing in Flacco or any other quarterback that you can name like that, I don't know if that's any less of a lottery ticket. So, please, Mickey, don't go nuts. That's all we're going to have for today. If anything, I'll be keeping my eye on the Twitter machine and the internet, and if anything breaks, I will pop in today or early tomorrow morning and drop something. Hope you enjoyed it. Please, any comments, you can drop them down below. Remember, Rumble, YouTube, like, follow, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, all that great stuff that helps the young channel out. So until next time, I'm Tim. Peace out. Who dat?